Listen, everybody thinks it, but we don't have to say it.
I have to. I have no filter, man.
That's why I listen.
This is Basic AF episode 77. Show notes for this episode can be found at basicafshow.com/77. This is going to be our favorite things of the year episode. Happy holidays, everybody. Tom Anderson here, and joined as always by Jeff Battersby. Hello, Jeff. Happy holidays, sir.
For about an eighth of a second there, I thought there was going to be another glitch in the Matrix. There was that.
That was one and done. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. 4-second pause, like, oh, we're back. How are you?
You know what got me on that is we changed the intro up a little bit. And so the episode a couple back where I locked up, I almost went back to like the way we had done the first, 75 episodes. So it's a little bit of a habit there.
Yeah.
But anyhow, good to see you again, Jeff. And this show, we've got a guest.
Well, we have guests.
He's been on multiple times. Hello. Welcome back, Joe Moyer.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me back. Happy holidays, everybody. I'm trying to get the record here for number of guest appearances.
Yeah, so you're at the top.
Away.
Yeah, although I have to say, you're no longer the top episode. Sorry.
Yeah, I was wondering, but
Forever Notes has now blasted past you pretty well. I think
it's a good show. Yeah,
it really is a good show, right? That one with Matthias was amazing.
Yeah, I will try to have a good holiday despite this news, but okay, moving on.
All right,
maybe next year.
We're not trying to hurt your feelings.
Well, we knock you down, Joe, just to build you up, okay?
Right. Yeah, that's it.
It sounds like life, guys.
We want to make you feel bad, so you still come on the show. It's an abusive relationship. Enjoy. Tom and I have that same experience together.
I listen often. I know. Yeah, I fit right in. I feel like now, guys. I feel like I'm one of you. Thank you.
Good to see you. Good to have you. And it's going to be fun to talk about our favorite things.
Absolutely.
Yep. So this is our third annual Favorite Things of the Year show.
Crazy.
So we're just going to share some of the apps, physical products, books, whatever comes up that we've got here that we're enjoying. It's a fun, lighthearted way to wrap up the year. And so we'll continue. Joe, as the guest, would you like to start us off?
Yeah. So my first sort of favorite thing of the year is actually, for me, a very fancy backpack. I've always been kind of the guy who goes, to Target or whatever and gets a pretty basic backpack. But with this new job I started, which I can't believe I just celebrated 1 year, I decided I needed something.
Seriously?
Yeah. It feels like it's been 5 years and it's 6 months all at the same time. Lots going on.
Been there. Right. It's like this podcast.
Yeah, three of these you guys have done amazing.
30? Did you say? Yeah.
So this was partially inspired by an episode of Mac Power Users where they started talking about travel tech and they started talking about bags. And I thought, I haven't spent enough money, so I started looking at some of the higher end bag companies out there, and I landed on Bellroy, which is an Australian company, and I ended up picking up their Transit Work Pack. They have different sizes. I got the 20 liter, and I got the night sky color, which I thought was nice, not too flashy, but not black. It is the best backpack I've ever had. It fits my work laptop. My iPad Pro fits in there beautifully. It's got great internal pockets. It's got real basic stuff, like there's a little thing for keys. So when I go in the office, I switch my keys out from my car in my house to my office, and then, back and forth. My badge fits in there great. It's comfortable. I wouldn't say it's stylish, but it's sort of appropriate for work, and also I can use it for traveling. And it's really durable. So I've been caught in a couple of rainstorms. It's waterproof, which is great. So that's been something that is very functional, but has absolutely been one of my favorite things for the year.
Nice.
Excellent. Okay. Love a good backpack.
Yeah, right?
Yep. What's the price range for those? Do you know off top?
I could tell you it's $189 to start at the 20 liter, and I think it goes up from there. So I've also taken it on planes. We did a trip. It's a great for travel bag too. So it's higher end, I would say, but I know there are some bags out there that are, make this one look like a discount bag. But this was a good price point for me, great quality. The company, they're a B Corp, so it seems like they're doing some good stuff behind the scenes. So big fan of their products.
Yeah, it's not too bad, though, when you think about the price, because I bought a Tom Ben bag back in 2014, and I have taken that thing everywhere, like plane trips, boat trips, work, road trips, and it's held up incredibly well, and like I've got really no need to upgrade it. So you price that out over a decade, and you're paying $18 a year, which is nothing. So
right, yeah. Totally,
well worth it.
Good things worth spending the money on. That's for darn sure.
Yep, I agree.
All right, sweet. I like it. Jeff, what do you got, buddy?
All right. Speaking of stuff, I just picked up a Bullstrap wallet that I like a whole lot. Fits in my pocket like my old one did. I can't remember. I think I had a Belroy actually wallet that I had for a good long time. Lasted me about 5 years. But it fell to pieces. So I picked up a Bullstrap wallet, being happy with one Bullstrap's lifetime guarantee. They will replace it. No questions asked at any point in time. So in the event that this will, or the eventuality, because it will, wears out in a few years, like my Belroy did, I will be able to get a new wallet with, no worries. But I've really been happy with the Bullstrap cases, and so I thought this would be a good choice, and I'm truly happy with it. And that was about $50. I know that sounds like a lot for a stupid wallet, but
not bad, though.
But that was, right. It was...
Especially this day and age when everything's expensive, so...
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, so it was a good choice. I think there was a discount on it, too, which is one of the reasons I got it. But they make a bunch of different kinds. They make a MagSafe wallet. Didn't really need that. First of all, not big enough to hold all the stuff that I need to put in it anyway. But they have, it's a nice suede wallet that I really just love.
Yeah, and we'll stick with Bullstrap because I've picked up the minimalist case for my 16 Pro Max, largely in part because you were happy with the one that you bought.
Truly.
Last year before. And so I picked that up. It is great, like completely happy with it. It was $79 when I bought it. When you go to the website, it says $99, but they're always having marked down. And they're doing, they did a big Black Friday thing. They're doing holiday sales, and their stuff's on sale a lot. But yeah, really nice, because Apple used to make nice leather cases for phones. And then towards the end of that, they were still quote unquote leather cases, but they weren't very nice. And then they dropped leather altogether for some other things. So I had the silicone Apple case when I first got this phone, and it was nice at the start, but as it started to wear, it got stickier. Like it was becoming a pain to get in and out of pockets and stuff. So I went this route back in September, got it for my birthday, but yeah, really happy with it. Quality of the leather's good. The buttons are nice and clicky. I haven't had any issues with that. And Jeff, you mentioned the warranty, which is part of it. And for these, for the phone cases, I'm not sure about the wallet. I imagine maybe similar, but 2 cosmetic replacements per year.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Which is great. So if your dog chews it up, I guess you just say, hey, and something happened, I need a replacement, and they'll ship you one. You pay for shipping, but not a big deal. So that's my first one, the Bullstrap Minimalist iPhone case. So they do have them for the 17 Pros. They put those out. Look a little different because of the plateau on the Pros and the way things are set up, but very happy. And so I imagine whenever I do upgrade to a new phone, I'll immediately just jump right back to their cases.
That's great. Actually, my second pick is a case and wallet combo from Peak Design. I'm still rocking the 15 Pro. My wife got the new 17 Pro, and it's very nice. Although she got orange, so now that means I can't get orange. But
I like that blue one better anyway.
Yeah, and she got the orange case too, guys. She got the Beats case, and I'm proud of her. By the way, she does listen, and she made it very clear she should be at number 1 on this list, but She's number one on every other list except the tech nerd one. So
okay, great.
Anyway,
well, she's open to come on as a guest at any time. She's welcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to come on.
Well, okay. She might do that.
That'd be fun.
So yeah. But I really like the Peak Design style, the aesthetic. I think it's got a nice sort of modern look to it. The back has a nice texture, but it's not too much of a texture, and it feels sturdy with my phone. At first, I really didn't know if I was interested in some of the accessories they have, because they kind of have their own series of magnetic accessories. I think they have a mount and they have a tripod. But I grabbed their wallet, and it's everything I wanted from the Apple MagSafe wallet. It's bigger, so I can actually fit, I think I have 7, maybe 8 cards in there right now, so I can fit credit cards and work cards and insurance stuff. It has actually a flap that comes over to kind of keep everything in there, and you open the flap and pull it, and it pulls the cards up so you can get to them a little bit easier. It's got a little bit of a flexibility to it, which I like as well, because I feel like it just feels like it's not as likely to fall off when I'm opening it and taking stuff out. Magnets hold really well. I can still use it on my MagSafe chargers by taking the wallet off, which I like, because I've had some phones where it just doesn't really work with the charger. Probably the only drawback is that I believe the newer Apple wallets have some sort of Find My feature built in. This doesn't have that, but I got one of those tracking cards. I think it's Nomad makes them. I'm just going to pop it in there. I lose everything, especially glasses, now that I wear glasses. But I don't usually lose my wallet, so I figured I might as well, keep that trend going and maybe get the little tracking card in there as well. So, I think when I upgrade to the new phone, I'm definitely going to look at their cases, because I like the style, and they work pretty well. So I think the case, it isn't that expensive either. I think it's like maybe $35 or $40, and I think the wallet's actually more. I think it's more like $50.
Very cool. And those tracking cards that you talked about are nice, because I don't have one yet, but the problem with the AirTags from Apple, of course, is they're kind of thick. And so if you want to stick that in like your wallet, it just doesn't really work. So that being more of a credit card style thing is pretty nice. I like that. And I have seen those Peak Design cases. Our friend Gannon, he has those. All right. I think, he doesn't have it on his Air, but he had it on his previous phone. And I saw that. And they are nice. I like those. They're good.
All right. Big silence. Gotta like that. Next up on my list, I'm going to throw an app in there. Talked about this a lot, and for good reason. I've been using Gentler Streak for about might be over a year now, and am truly pleased with Gentler Streak. It's a simple app in terms of what it does, unlike Apple's fitness app, which I do like. I think it's really good. It, instead of, saying you got to run 5 miles or walk 10,000 steps, it finds a range that is suitable for you. My range has changed considerably since I had my stroke. And so what it does is it finds that range. In fact, I think I may even have mentioned this, but I emailed the folks at Gentler Streak after I had my stroke and said, hey, what do I need to do to, tell Gentler Streak that the reason I've dropped from, and if you saw Tom's newsletter last week, it had a picture of it. I dropped from, really high performing to, less than 0. By the way, fun movie. And they emailed me back immediately, which was amazing. Like the day that I sent that email out to them, they responded to me and they said that the algorithm would pick up where you're at, and we'll guide you from there. Just give it a day or so for it to catch up. And sure enough, it did. It didn't say, "Hey, looks like you've had a stroke."
Maybe that's appropriate. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it probably is. But it has now gotten used to my new rhythm, which is, honestly, anywhere between, an hour and an hour and a half of physical activity, intentional physical activity. And it just really is thoughtful, does a really good job of collecting my sleep information and telling me, what was good, what wasn't. Apple's gotten better at that now too with the latest iOS and watchOS releases. But it's just a great app that I can highly recommend. I really like Gentler Streak.
Yeah, I use it too, and I know with my I think it's for every reason you like it, I like it as well, and I think I've definitely noticed a difference because I'm not walking as much. I'm scooting like crazy around work and stuff on this little knee scooter that I have, which Jeff, I'll send you a video. It's good for a laugh, but it doesn't. I don't get the credit even if I'm working my butt off. It just doesn't work the same way. So I'm curious what it'll look like when I can actually move again. I think
get back to work. Cool. Yeah, it's a great app.
Yeah, really good app.
I'm really pleased with it.
Yep.
Still want to get those guys on, by the way.
That would be great. I'd love to have someone.
Have to try it again.
Yeah, that would be good discussion.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. So next up for me is another app. It is a repeat from last year's list. I'm putting Craft on the list again. Jeff doesn't care, but
Jeff's a huge fan.
He's a huge fan. Joe is. Joe uses Craft.
I use it all the time.
So the reason I put it on, so last year when I put it on, they just released Craft 3, which was a big update. But they have made this year like so many improvements and updates to the application. And right up front, something that I really like about it is the company, at least they're the people who are kind of out there engaged with the user community, fantastic. Like they've got, there's a subreddit for it. There's a Slack community that you can join, and the reps from the company that are in there, they're active, they're engaged, they're constantly looking for feedback, input, just fantastic. And so that is a big part of it. Like you don't feel like you're kind of screaming into a void, like with some applications, like Things is that way from Culture Code. Like I used that for years. Beautiful app. There's a lot of features not still in that app that I feel like a modern task manager app should have, but the developers are just like, well, thanks for the input. Thanks for the input. We'll think about it. Yeah. So Craft is like 180 from that. But they've added collections to it, which is, they're kind of like little lightweight databases, tasks. So I've moved out of Things into Craft for all of my task management, which I had not thought about until recently. I've been thinking about it. One of the task system in Craft is not as elegant as it is in Things. It's not as powerful yet as it is in Things or Reminders or Todoist or other apps like that. But what that has kind of forced me to do is I don't have as much junk in there. Like Things became like a wasteland for stuff. Reminders became a wasteland because that was kind of the getting things done mindset, right? So everything goes in the inbox, and then it goes into someday, anytime, and then you do something with it eventually, which never happens.
You have 500 items in there,
right? And it's just a mess. And so this I've been more deliberate about, which has been helpful actually. Like it only goes in there if it really is something I need to do. And I did make a shortcut that. I think Joe has. I shared it with you. I actually ended up sharing it in the Slack community too. So I can add a task or a type note or a dictated note with a shortcut, which is nice. But big update year. They've done stuff with AI stuff with MCP, so Model Context Protocol, so you can tie in ChatGPT or Claude. They've got API access now, so people are actually building apps with their Craft data. Like you can use, can connect it via API, make dashboards and all kinds of crazy stuff. So really big year. I did do a video for them earlier this year. This My Day with Craft series that they have. That's up on YouTube if you want to check that out, see some of the ways I'm using it. But that is my day in and day out lifeline at this point.
Yeah, and by the way, that video is really great.
It is.
A lot of fun to watch. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you, fellas.
You're welcome. So, it's interesting you're talking about kind of using Craft to manage your tasks. I've gone back and forth. I used Todoist for years and reminders. And what I really realized is that it's helpful to have a digital tool, but I'm also still got a touch of analog in me. So my next pick for one of my favorite things is from Ugmonk, which is a company that I could spend far too much money on. They make beautiful stuff.
They really do.
Stuff for the stuff for the desks are incredible. But I do some stuff with the analog system, which is essentially these really nice small cards. They have them divided up for today and, kind of future projects. And they also have some that are more kind of blank free form where they have dots, which is my preferred style when I'm writing on like a dot grid. But the thing I've been using a lot from them is their disc-bound analog notebook. So what I like about it is it's small, so I can take it with me. It typically stays at work because that's where I use it the most. It fits on my desk. It's substantial, so it's easy to write in. And I can just pull data from email. The way my work is, I actually have 2 different email accounts. I've got one for the company I work for and one for my client. So I can kind of jot stuff down throughout the day for that. So I'm trying not to just be reactive, but sort of plan ahead a little bit. I also try to shut my door sometimes, but it's open frequently and I get a lot of visitors. So that's another thing where I can try to put it on kind of I'll get this done a little bit later. I'm trying to focus right now. So the analog notebooks and the cards, they do have a system associated with them, and it's a great system. I use it to check off tasks and kind of forward tasks. But honestly, most often it's just a place to put down ideas, work through them. Some of them turn into tasks. And with that, I like their pen. They make a number of different kind of pens, but I like just the Ugmonk pen. It's simple. It writes really nicely. And it's something that I have 2 of them. So I usually have at least one in my backpack, one on the desk. I find in my life, I need 2 of everything right now. I remember mentioning losing things. So if I have 2, they're never really lost. They're just misplaced or put in the wrong place. So big fan of both of those products from Ugmonk. I think the analog notebook isn't too expensive. It's like maybe $30, and I've already bought multiple refills of the note cards, which are super easy to put in. That's another nice feature. You can just keep reusing the shell of it. So big fan of their stuff. Could spend lots of money.
Yeah, they do make good, high quality products.
Right. Speaking of notebooks, I too am an analog notebook guy. Probably might be a disease actually next to regular books. I'm a huge fan of Field Notes brands notebooks. I have an annual subscription with them that they ship me typically three notebooks. This particular most recent release was pretty cool. It was a military version of the Maltese Falcon, which I've never read. I've seen the movie a couple of times. And then notebooks that are capable of being used either horizontally or vertically, which is pretty cool as well. But they're clever, thoughtful, really do a lot of different things. This particular year, they've done a couple of interesting releases for their subscription releases. One was a Birds of North America, which is gorgeous, absolutely stunning. There's also, and this might have been last year's, they called it the Chicago look, which was basically a setup, a larger notebook, but basically a setup of analog signage, which was stunningly gorgeous. Each of these typically comes with a video on how they went about making these and some history behind what it is that they're doing. I can highly recommend Field Notes notebooks. I use them constantly, whether it's for theater or for jotting down quick ideas that doesn't make sense or don't have the ability to put it into the Notes app. So often gets transferred to the Notes app, but can highly recommend Field Notes brand. A little less expensive than the what Joe just recommended, but very different than that. But it appears, having now looked at the Udbunk website, Ugbunk, sorry, it looks like it's similar idea. It's very personal, handcrafted, thoughtfully designed. It's not just stuff that you're getting, which more and more in our AI digital age, I think analog is, I don't know, there's something that feels very, very nice about that.
I have some field notes. They're spectacular. I think the last ones I bought were the National Park series, which was maybe a couple years ago. Yeah. And I would agree with you. I think there's similar vibe there. They definitely take a lot of pride in what they do. And I try not to open their emails because then they're very, I think they might be associated with a marketing firm. I'm not sure. Or communications, because they're good. They're very good. The work that they do is brilliant. It really is. And just fun. I've got more notebooks than I'll ever use in my lifetime, but that's okay. It's a good problem to have.
You're right. My kids will inherit them along with the 10,000 books, maybe 1,000 of which I've read. All right, Tommy. What's up?
All right. So I tried the analog thing years back before, iPads and all that stuff. I used to have a portfolio hardcover notebook type thing, mm-hmm. and I would write all my stuff in. And I still have them tucked away in storage somewhere, but at this point, I've gone totally digital with all that just because I like to have it accessible at any point, anytime. Which will segue into my next favorite thing, which is no surprise. We've talked about a good bit last couple of episodes between our Apple report card show last episode and then before that with Riley and everything. But the iPad Pro M5 with the Magic Keyboard is definitely my favorite thing of the year, hardware-wise. Such a delight to use. Love it. Talked about it enough. Don't need to go into too many details here. But when I do like my deep thinking kind of stuff, I do still like to write it out, not type it. And so when I do want to do that, I just take it out of the Magic Keyboard, put it on the desk, go into Craft, start a handwritten note, and just do it all there. And one thing I do like about digital handwriting notes is a lot of times like my thoughts, as for most people, when you're first getting into things, you're just kind of dumping stuff on the paper and then you want to rearrange it. I do love that I can just circle it, drag it to a different place and rearrange stuff on the paper, quote unquote digital paper. So that is my pick. Of course, iPad OS 26 is kind of, they're A and B there because the new windowing system and everything, especially on the studio display, has made a big difference on how that works. I think, Joe, you're enjoying that too, I think.
Yeah.
From some of the chats we've had.
Yep, absolutely. I got an iPad Pro in March, and I use my iPad more than my desktop now just because I'm not home as much. But I know there were some challenges with the new iPad OS, but I'm a big fan of the features that you're talking about. I think they're doing that well. All right. So that is my third choice, I guess we're on now. Joe, what else you got? I've been on a quest to find, and this is going to be pretty nerdy, guys, so hold on, to find the perfect wireless charging
never
station
happens
for
here.
all my junk. I know. I think I came to the right place. I've had 2 or 3 different kinds of like the really sort of unusual looking. It almost looks like it has antennas or different structures on it to try to charge my watch, my phone, and my AirPods. I just wanted something really simple. So I found the Anker MagGo wireless charging station. It's a 3-in-1 dock, which is pretty standard what they have these days. But there's a couple things I like about this one. It's pretty compact, so it fits nicely anywhere, nightstands, desks. It has fast charging in it. And it also looks pretty good. I'm not saying it's an attractive piece of hardware by any means, but they kind of hide where the AirPods go behind the back of it, so they're not sitting on the front. Means they don't fall off, but sometimes it means they do when I'm trying to get them and it's dark. But it's easy to use with standby. It's on the nightstand, so that's great. My wife actually likes it too, so I think I'm going to get a couple of them just to put them around the house because they're just handy to have. They're a little expensive, but for me, the convenience of just being able to drop everything there, and know it's going to work is great. So at least for now, this is kind of the perfect charging station for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you put that on the list too.
Yeah,
right, right.
I think maybe other people are on the same journey.
Yeah, and I'm looking for one because right now I've got the Anchor, just the multi-port chargers that plug into the outlet, and then you plug your cables in. And my desk has got to be kind of a mess with the cables because I've got, the MagSafe cable, I got the watch charger, I've got a USB-C, I've got a Lightning for the couple of last Lightning things we have. And so I was like, God, this looks awful. So I've been looking at these, so I'll take a look at that one.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of those too, and those are great. But this is just cleaner. It is a little expensive, but to me, it's been worth it. You got to invest in yourself, guys. So
I agree.
I'm here for the affirmations.
Yes. All right. You've done good, Joe. It's all good. We're proud of you.
I
just wanted to
that.
say.
Thank you. That makes up for me not being the most popular episode. Almost.
It's all right, dude. You were the by far the most popular episode for the longest period of time. So
I'm just happy to be on with you guys.
No shame. All righty. For me, another app. Quote unquote apps released a new version of my favorite writing program. It was Highland 2 for a long time. It is now Highland Pro. I will say it was a little glitchy to start. There's one for your phone. I have no idea how anybody writes on a phone, but that's another story for another day. There's an iPad version and then there's a Mac version. Initially, the syncing was a little not synchy. It was which they've resolved considerably, and hands down, my favorite writing app. It's simple. It's designed for novel writing, script writing. Could do articles and term papers and whatnot in it as well. But it's aimed more for the creative folks, and it is designed in such a way that that's all I use to write, unless I really have to use Microsoft Word or Pages. That is where I'm doing all my writing. Well supported, even in this, in the transition from Highland 2 to Highland Pro. That transition was really well documented. They have a great Discord. They're responsive to that Discord, and they are doing a lot of work even now to fix bugs that have showed up. And then from people who are, requesting features, they're adding those features. So feels a lot to me like Craft feels to you, Tom. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the thing that I want to say. It's really a great app. I've talked about it a lot. I've been using it for years and years, pretty much every version of that app. And I reviewed it initially for Macworld. This was years and years ago, and I have not stopped using it since. So Markdown at the back end, front end, just looks like a straight up text editor that you have a lot of control over. A number of different templates for whatever kind of writing you're doing, whether it's a stage play or a screenplay or a novel, as I'm working on now. Just highly recommend that particular application.
Awesome. Very nice. I know you've been a big fan of that one, and
for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time, and you love it when the developers are active like that.
Yeah,
and engage with the users, because it just shows how much they're committed to it.
Yeah, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, truly.
All right, so I have up next Tandem. They don't need to be, like, both of these kind of stand on their own, really. But for me, I've kind of lumped them together. I've worn Joe down, I think, and he's finally started to get into this as well a little bit. So he's sampling it a little. So it is both we've talked about before. The Snipped, SNIPD.
Mm-hmm. The vasectomy application. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not that.
Listen, everybody thinks it, but we don't have to say it.
I have to. I know. No filter, man.
That's why I listen.
Yeah, that one. So podcast app, but in tandem with Readwise, which is a separate service. So we could probably do a whole show on the two of these, but I'll try to keep it brief. Snipped is, like I say, it's a podcast app. There are a lot of podcast apps out there. There is a free plan for this. There is a paid plan for this. I have done the paid plan. The free plan is a little bit limited, but kind of the premise of Snipped is I hate to use the word because everything it's so overplayed now, AI powered. Whoa! Right. Hit the turbochargers. But it is, but it's actually a really good implementation of AI the way that they do it. The AI piece really enables what I primarily want it for. So you think about it, and again, we'll preface this by saying it depends on the types of podcasts that you're listening to. But with the things that I tend to listen to, there will be segments of conversation where I'm like, oh, that's really cool or interesting. I want to follow up on that later. And I forget about it because, driving to work, I get to work, chaos ensues at work. And that's the last thing I remember what I was listening to at 8:50. But the reason the app, is called Snipped is because as you are listening to the podcast, and you can also have it set up to do this automatically using the AI stuff, something of interest hits, you're like, oh, I want to follow up with that, or that's a really good insight. I want to remember that. You can just tap the button on CarPlay and it'll create a snip of that section of the podcast. And then the transcript around it, I think you can choose the length of that. It's 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. And so you can kind of go through that. One of the things that I've done, which when we first talked about this, I think in the spring of this year, when I first signed up for it, is, with the auto snipping that you can do, you can load up the queue, right? Because, I don't have time to listen to every podcast that I'd like to listen to.
Really?
Yeah. How about that?
What are you doing?
Just working,
I know.
all the stuff that gets in the way of fun.
Yeah.
And so I would load up the queue with 5-10 episodes of the shows and just let it run overnight with the auto snips on. And then in the morning, it would give me like the context of the show, some highlights and things like that. And if something stood out, I would go back and listen to the actual show and then snip more stuff myself, maybe. I still do that, not as frequently, like I said, as I thought I would. But where Readwise comes into this is, so Readwise is a separate service that's been around for a while for book readers. So if you're reading on Apple Books or Kindle or some of the others, or using their reader app, which is like a RSS reader, but you can also send newsletters to it, clip web pages and everything, and make highlights and all that. All that ends up in your Readwise. So your book highlights, your clips from websites and newsletters, any type of PDFs that you want to add to it, all end up there. So where Readwise plays into this is Snipped syncs with Readwise. And so connect both. So now I've got all of the content that I'm reading is in Readwise, and then all of the podcast stuff that I'm listening to that I create clips for ends up in Readwise as well. And really what I like about Readwise is it does this spaced repetition learning, so it will resurface your highlights through daily emails or whatever frequency you want to set it to. And they've also started recently to do these themed highlight reviews. So if there's like a topic that you've got maybe stuff from 5, 6, 7, 8 different content types. So it could be podcasts or written, whatever. It'll resurface that. You can go into the Readwise app and chat now using AI with your highlights, which is a brilliant implementation because you can go in and say, hey, I'm looking to do a marketing plan for this thing at work, blah, 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 blah. I need some guidance on maybe the best approaches. It will come back, typical like an LLM would, but it sources from your highlights, which is great. And then when you click the citation, it brings the highlight up in the side panel. So really great way to kind of, because we're all taking in so much content, whether it's reading a book or a podcast. You can upload YouTube videos to Snipped and it'll process those and send them up too. So it kind of feeds into this big system of kind of knowledge management, retention, and then be able to use it again at a later date. So I think between the two things, I'm in for, I don't know, $180 a year, maybe something like that. But again, like we were talking about with the backpack earlier, you split that out over what it does, how often you use it, and $180 in that much.
Yeah, anything that works with Readwise is going to be something I'm very interested in. So, like Tom said, I've been experimenting a little bit with Snipped, and then I think you or Gannon mentioned that, I think it was you that mentioned the Readwise integration, and all right, I'm sold because I love Readwise. So, I'm a big fan of that app. So following along with podcasts, one of my sort of new favorite podcasts I've been listening to it's called
Basic AF Show.
Goes without saying.
Yes, of course. Like I listen every morning, every Monday when it drops, guys. So Version History is a new show from The Verge. I kind of step in and out of what The Verge does on podcasts. I think I like Nilay Patel. I like David Pierce, the different hosts they have. But I just don't have time to listen to them all. But what I like about Version History is it's more focused on kind of the history of tech. They talk about some of the better gadgets, and they talk about some of the maybe not so great gadgets. So they covered the Fire Phone, the Zune, talked about Guitar Hero, LimeWire, so kind of things from the past that I haven't really thought about. A lot of this stuff I'd never used. So I don't know about you guys. I never had a Zune or a Fire Phone. But it's interesting to hear why, why that is. That nobody really had those.
Any of those.
Or Vine. Just, it's kind of fun. Obviously they've been writing about tech for a long time, so they bring an interesting perspective and they have guests on. So, that's something I've been enjoying.
That sounds cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to throw another app in there, which is one I just started using recently, and I really kind of like a lot, enough that I was willing to pay for it. Some apps, like, I'm willing to use the free versions, but there's not a lot of value that gets thrown my way. And that app is called Book Tracker. One of the things I've been doing quite a bit of, like I said, I have a stupidly large collection of books. Many of which I have read, many of which are waiting to be read, which may never happen, considering my age and how many books there are. But I know, notebooks and books. There's a theme.
Worse things, though, really.
Yes, there are.
Jeff loves paper. That's the thing.
Yep.
I do love paper. You're right. I do love the analog. I do love being a bartender for that very reason as well. It's because it's, it's very analog. But Book Tracker is it's essentially a reading journal. A couple of things I like about it is it allows you to pull out quotes from a book if you're reading, which I do. I use something called book darts typically to, stick in the book where there's a quote that I like. This kind of lets me take those book darts and put them in a place that I can actually find them again, because often don't go back to books or remember where they are. So this is a really slick little app. It has a couple of other features, such as when I'm reading, I could put a timer on it. And I could track, how long I've been reading a particular book for, and put that information in. It lets me know when I go to the bookstore if I already have a book.
You might.
Likely. I have a really, really good used bookstore in town called Pinnacle Books that I am a regular at, for better or for worse. And so I can look and see at a glance whether or not I have a particular book already, just by popping the app open. So it's just a really, really good book. I have a collection of many quotes from the books that I'm reading now. And I'm going to throw a couple of those at you here at the end. I'm going to give you two books that I have either read or am currently reading. And it's just a really, really good app for being able to track what it is that I'm reading, retain what it is that I think is important about what I'm reading at a particular point in time. It does give you the ability to share, basically lend books to people and know who you've lent them to, so you can get them back. So it's just a really, really good app. And then it'll give you some statistical information. So, it's like everything else does. I have a year in review, the books I've read, how I've rated them, how many pages I've read overall since I've started using the app. It doesn't do much good for the books that I already read that I didn't put the pages in, and say how much I was reading for. But really a great app for tracking what it is that I've been reading. The only thing that I'd complain about a little bit is iPad and iOS app, one price. Mac app I had to pay again. I'd rather just have a little higher price for everything and have them all. But otherwise, good stuff. Really, really good app.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds useful.
Yeah, it's great. I really like it.
Very good. So up next for me is something that I thought and said for a long time. I now don't understand why people would ever pay for this.
What are you paying for, Tom?
And here I am, a YouTube Premium subscriber, and I love it. So it's not cheap. It's $14 a month as far as subscriptions go. But I guess it falls in line. I mean, it's in line with everything else, like Netflix and Hulu, all that kind of stuff. Biggest benefit that I get from it is ad-free viewing of YouTube videos. YouTube is my primary source of entertainment. Any type of research I'm doing where I want to watch video about. I think they saw somewhere YouTube's like this, second largest search engine right behind like the Google search. Because, you go there and you say, hey, I've got a leaky faucet. How do I replace the stem in something? And there's a YouTube video for it. Or I've got a new doorbell cam. How do I do that? Hey, there's a video for it. That's not my
doorbell cam.
I've done both of those.
Me too.
And more. Yeah.
And that's not my primary. Is not like the DIY stuff, but I just watch lots of stuff. Like I say, when I ride the Echo bike for exercise, it's 30 minutes. I usually put the AirPods in, watch YouTube, because it hits the one of the primary reasons is it hits typically the YouTube videos hit the length of time that I have to watch something, which is usually 20 to 30 minutes, and that's kind of the sweet spot for YouTube content. And so $14 a month. I did get YouTube Music Premium access with that. I do like it. It has not, and I don't think ever will replace Apple Music as my primary music listening service. Mm-hmm. But what I do like about it is because it is YouTube, it sources a lot of the YouTube videos along with it. So it's not like Apple Music where you have a little bit of video in there if you want to watch it, but it's primarily music. There's a lot of video, but it also does a really nice job of, if you do a search, you can see, they segment it out. So the community playlists, which back in the day on Spotify was one of my favorite features with it, because a lot of times like Apple Music playlists are very like corporate radio-ish kind of thing. Not all of them, but I think, user-generated playlists or created playlists are better in my experience. And so it does a good job with that. So that's a nice little side benefit. It has some other things like, background play. Like if you lock your phone, it'll keep playing the video. I don't really use that. Offline downloads, don't use that either. But $14 a month, big fan.
We have it too. And now my wife, for some reason, I don't even know if she can log into it, but she does not have it on her phone. So when we watch something and it goes to the video for the ad, it's a little enraging because I've gotten used to being spoiled. And so have the kids.
So I don't have it for my work account.
Good. Yeah. The download feature is good for kids too. When we were on the plane, we could download their favorite stuff because they mostly watch YouTube now.
Yep.
So.
All right. So one final round before we close it out.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm going to go in the literary direction for my last pick for things I'm really enjoying this year. I've been reading some books by a guy named Donald Robertson. He writes a lot about Stoic philosophy and actually writes a lot of biographies about the people who were, kind of alive in that area. He wrote a book about Socrates. He's written several books about Marcus Aurelius. And I'm really enjoying, it's called Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Emperor. I think a lot of people, including me, were introduced to Stoicism from Ryan Holiday, who's written some really great books that I enjoy. I'm a big fan of his. But I find that a guy like Donald Robertson obviously has a different voice, a different approach, maybe takes a little bit of a deeper look. He's also a cognitive behavioral therapist, which I learned is sort of found its roots in Stoic philosophy. And I've gone through cognitive behavioral therapy. It's pretty cool. It's sort of taking action to manage your emotions and how you feel about external things, which if you've dipped your toe in Stoicism, you kind of know that's the whole point of it. I think he's a really great writer. He delves into the history from all the sources. His books are just, for me, very readable, very interesting, full of insights. So this is, I think, his second or third book that I've read from him, and I really just like his style and his approach. So that's something, and I'm reading it a little bit slowly because I'm enjoying it that much, and doing a lot of highlights into Readwise. So that's kind of my nighttime reading right now.
Awesome. Nice. I like that. All right. For mine, I'm going to have two, both literary. So thanks for leading with that, Joe. Two books. One that I finished reading a couple months back called Culpability by Bruce Holsinger. It is an AI book. Or a book about AI and how that kind of plays into our lives, piece of fiction, very good piece of fiction, and a little bit to do with self-driving vehicles, who's responsible in the event of an accident of a self-driving vehicle, but also just kind of the mindset behind, what it is that we're doing socially when it comes to AI and how much responsibility or how much information we're giving over to big companies, basically. It's not a polemic. It's not something that's, angry about it. It's just a really thoughtful piece of fiction that I'd highly recommend. So Culpability by Bruce Holsinger. The other one is What We Can Know, which is Ian McKellen's Ian McKellen's an actor. Ian McEwan's a writer. Ian McEwan's new novel, which also very interesting. It's taken from the point of view of the humanities, which, English major here, creative writing major here. So, right up my alley, theater guy. But it's written in the future. So the book is being written in the 2100s about our current time and about, in particular, a poem that was written. I know that sounds really exciting. About a poem that was written that this researcher is trying to find, but it also is looking at kind of a cataclysm that takes place. And when I say cataclysm, usually we think of cataclysms in terms of whether it's climate change. Those things definitely come into play, but really what sets this off is two very small nuclear wars between countries that we know that have always had nuclear power and that are battling each other. And that's not the United States and Russia, by the way. It's a couple of smaller countries. And what that sets off and what that does to the world. So it's a really, really interesting novel, thoughtful, cleverly written. The way it's kind of looking at the past through the eye of the future is pretty interesting. And so would highly recommend that book.
Yeah, sounds really good.
Yeah, I like it.
Instead of a poem, I would have gone with a Twitter thread.
Yeah,
because that's how they argue these days. They argue.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's not. What's interesting is this poem. It's actually it's referred to as a corona, and in this particular case, the corona is made up of 15 sonnets that the guy wrote for his wife. That this amazing poet wrote for his wife, but that only one copy was created. He destroyed all his notes. He wrote it on a piece of lambskin, basically put it on something that she would be able to keep forever. And she never put it any place to publish it, and it has disappeared. So he's trying to figure out, what kind of little piece of information or what kind of prophetic bent the particular poet had. So, but he's an old dude. The guy writing the poem is not a Twitter guy. He's, in
Jeff.
Shut up.
And his field note that got misplaced.
Yeah, my field note, right. In the old moleskin that I had in my drawer.
Right.
Woo, zing. Yeah.
Nothing but love, bro. Nothing but love.
Kapow. Appreciate you.
I know you do.
Really, a lot.
It's like we've said before, if we weren't doing that to each other, we'd be like, you mad at me, bro? Because you're not breaking my balls much here.
Yeah,
right.
Fair.
That's what makes the show so entertaining.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. My last thing is something I haven't talked about much on this show, but use every day at work.
Psychology session. Let's talk, Tom.
No, it is it's another app, but Asana. So Asana is a project management app for teams. We use it at the office. I'm not going to go too deep on it, but really, really great. Like we've had it for a couple of years now. And we were talking when we talked about Snip there, how overplayed AI powered is. I'm tired of hearing AI powered, but what I do like is now we're starting to get past some of that kind of goofy hype, although it's still like way overhyped, but we're starting to see applications make like intelligent, pardon the pun, implementations of AI in their tools. And Asana has I think they just call it the AI Studio or something, but a couple of weeks ago, I was working on a project. We're reevaluating our ticketing system. And I had done some research with Gemini. It had a nice long prompt and everything. And so I took that prompt and dropped it into Asana with a new project because you can use AI to build your project. I was really impressed with the thoughtfulness that they've put into how they've integrated AI into the platform, because it took the prompt and it was like, okay, well, here's what I've got to frame it up. What do you think about this? Would you like some custom fields for this, or this? I was like, yeah, that would be good. Let's go ahead and do that. And then if we just kind of like you typically do with your prompts, you go back and forth. But then it was like, hey, I can make a form for you where you could score these tools that you're looking at. So they're using consistent, scoring across the products and everything, and it would be in your project. I was, yeah, go ahead and do that. And so it saved me easily hour work, right? To have to build all that stuff out. We've got another project that I've set up for tracking all of our refreshes for all of our AV equipment and classrooms. We're up to over 160 locations where we've got to track that stuff in different spaces. So I built that out, a bunch of custom fields. Now I can look at it by room, by model. It's just really powerful, really nice. Like it really is geared toward teams, because I was talking about craft doing my tasks earlier. And so we've got our group in there, 20 couple people, but really, really good and happy with that. So I thought I'd give them a shout out here.
Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really useful. Very cool.
And I think that's it.
I think it is. Look at us. We burned 45 minutes of your time. You're welcome. Joe, as we close out, why don't you tell us where we can find you, your information, your always excellent journaling guide?
Yeah, thank you. So you could find me, I'm on Threads at the Journaling Guide over there. Been on there since it launched. And you can also find my writing at 24letters.net. You can type in the number 24, or you can type in the word. I've got both. You can join the Journaling Guide, which is a biweekly newsletter. It's been on a little bit of a hiatus the last few months because of my foot and had some family issues going on, but I'm looking forward to getting back into that. You can still sign up for the Journaling Challenge, which is a 10-day, very simple prompts that will be sent out every morning at 6 a.m. So if you're curious about, kind of engaging in journaling and using some prompts, that's a great way to get started. I've had some good feedback on it. And I am planning in the new year, as promised on the sign-up page, some sort of a live kind of webinar for everybody who's joined the newsletter list. So, that's where you can find me. And it's always a pleasure to be on, guys. So Thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you. Thanks for coming, Joe. And we'll, even though I'm a writer, but I'm a on again, off again journaler. I have been journaling a little bit about, my stroke. I keep notes in a journal and a novel, and I occasionally, just write journal stuff. But really, really good, insightful information that you provide at all those locations. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Reminder that you can always reach us at feedback@basicafshow.com. And we're happy for that. You can send us voicemail messages. If you look at the show notes, that will tell you a little bit about, basically allow you to leave us a voice message so we respond to you. And that's kind of fun. Gotten a couple of those, not a lot. So give it a go. Send us something. Wish us, happy holidays or whatever it is you wanted to. Show art. Randall Martin Design. You can go to randallmartindesign.com, and really great work by Randall. And I am currently wearing swag, the only piece of swag available on the planet other than magnets and stickers. I've got a nice sweatshirt on that Tom sent me, and so I'm wearing that. It has both of our ugly mugs on it in robot form. And then we have Psychokinetics for show music, Celsius 7. You can find them both on your favorite streaming apps.
All right. Excellent. So, Joe, thanks again for coming on. Good to see you. See you in the chat this week.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays.
Yeah. Happy holidays, Jeff. Happy holidays, listeners. Happy holidays. Happy New Year, because this will be the last show until 2026. So looking forward to having a great New Year with you all. And until then, talk to you later.
See you.
I don't want to know about your imperfections, dude. Prefer to